we're back.
And we're back. My 2 weeks flies.
What a year it's been.
Yes, yes.
It's September.
I know.
Do you remember how painful 2020 was? And now it's almost over?
I know. It's only like 4 months left. It's hard to believe,
what
actually.
What will 2021 have in store for us?
We don't know. What? We have a jam-packed...
We do. We have content rich.
Yes.
A lot of animal husbandry stuff.
Okay. Those were the questions.
The questions didn't ask us anything. Yeah.
So first of all, we should introduce ourselves and say where we're recording from, because some of our regular viewers
was a big
were
upheaval.
a big upheaval. And I'm on the other side again.
Oh no, I meant to sit over there.
Oh.
The setup is so, you wouldn't believe the cords and things running through my living room. That's where we are.
Yeah, in Jen's living room.
Right.
So, for those that don't know, this is Jen.
Right. You're Kim.
I'm Kim.
We're sisters.
We own a sheep farm in Belfast, Prince Edward Island, and a woolen mill on the farm, and a yarn shop in the mill. It's kind of like the bird in the hole in the branch, and the branch.
Right.
Like it's a,
And we own this lovely Victorian farmhouse.
Drafty, falling apart farmhouse.
With all lovely original woodwork.
Yes.
Which we're displaying some of it here. I'm sure it was painted at one time.
Yes.
But the last people who lived here wanted it natural.
Yes, I think Edith did a
Scraped
lot of
off the
scraping.
razor blade.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm afraid to paint it now because I'd hate to destroy all her efforts.
That's right. And the family that we bought the house from, they bought this house in 1928, I think. And then the father bought, and then we bought it from the son and his wife,
who had been born in the house and lived here for 87 years.
That's
until
right.
we moved in.
That's right.
And destroyed the place. Not really.
No. And Edith, who is the woman that, and her husband was still alive at the time that we purchased the house. He's since passed away, but she still lives across the street.
Yeah. So she can
in
see
fact,
us right now.
I can wave.
She's got the binocs out.
There's like 10 acres of land between her house and our house, but we can see it's directly across from where we're sitting. So that's it.
So that's good. And
we've told stories of Edith before when she was the operator.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right. And also, I think we've told this before too, but if you didn't know, we accidentally bought a property 3 minutes from the grave of the member of our family who immigrated to Canada from Scotland.
That's right.
Totally accidental.
Five greats.
Yes, grandfather is buried just down the road, and we had no idea. Yeah. We could walk there.
Yeah, it was pretty, it's kind of, it's definitely serendipity. That's because we had no idea. I had never been to Belfast PEI before. So I had no idea even where I was, except it was close to the ferry. That's all I knew. So
so that's pretty cool. So that's where we are. We're in my living room. We've divided the house in two with some minor renovations. Yeah. And I always say I have the servant staircase going up from my kitchen to the upstairs, and you have the grand hall and entrance staircase. Yeah. Which also accounts for a third of your square footage.
Right. And also some of these rooms have been more worked on than some of my rooms. So
I worked on this one too.
Yeah. And Edith and Charlie had done some upgrades, let's say.
Plaster replacement is the big thing.
Exactly. So I still have plaster. So if any of you come to visit and you don't get invited into the house, it's not because we don't want to welcome you. We do all our meeting and greeting out in the store because the house is a work in progress. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's mid 19th century plaster hanging on by its last legs.
Yeah, exactly. So some of it replaced, some not. Some windows replaced, some not. It's a little bit of a mishmash, but
it's a huge undertaking.
Yeah. It looks great from the outside. Yeah. Everybody thinks what a beautiful farmhouse.
And they think it's huge because there's a full third story. That's the attic that's not finished, but it's actually about 2,200 square feet.
Yeah, maybe.
And we've split that.
Yeah.
And you've given 300 of yours to a stairwell. My stairs are efficient. They're not good for anyone with arthritis or anything like that. And there's no room for a handrail or anything. Like, they were literally where they would sneak upstairs to light the fire.
I don't know if they actually had servants, but it was
the kitchen stairs anyway.
Yeah, the kitchen stairs. So a lot of these old homes have kitchen stairs, a back stair.
Well, what would that be for if you didn't have servants?
it would be for safety, for one thing, because you have an escape route. Oh. It's like the fire escape, maybe.
It is like a fire escape.
And a lot of the homes were, the eldest son that was going to take over the farm lived in the house with his parents. They never moved out. They married and they lived. Okay. So there would be probably, in most of these we don't actually have a typical island farmhouse that has a really, like a peaked roof. This is a different style.
It's a mansard roof.
Yeah, exactly. So the families would be a blended, or not a blended family, but two generations at least living in the house. So yeah, it's not really that big, and the rooms are, all the rooms are enclosed. There's no open spaces, so it makes it even the actual living space is quite small. But everybody thinks it looks like a big house, but it's really not. So.
No, we've cut it in half. I mean, it would be big if you had to clean the whole thing yourself.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So that's enough about where we are.
Yeah, so that should provide plenty of context.
Yeah.
So farm update, we got a little bit of rain.
Yes. Yeah, over a few days, so that was good.
So do you think we're maybe going to be able to have a bonfire for the Labor Day weekend?
I don't know about that, but it
is fires all summer long. Yeah. Like no campfires. Mm-hmm.
It is greening up substantially.
Yeah, it did make a difference. Yeah. All right, and then the lambs are getting huge. They probably weigh 20 pounds.
I know. It's crazy.
And we had a wonderful local photographer, Rachel Peters, out this week to take some photos with the lambs, which you'll eventually get to see.
Right.
And Merlin was, of course, the star, and Diana, always the star. And they were heavy. I mean, I was holding Merlin. I was like, can I put this thing down? Because...
So we did say what happened about Merlin, that he's been adopted.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's been adopted by another ewe.
Yeah. And she tried to change her mind.
Too late.
And he ran her down.
Yeah.
He wore her down until she finally had to give in. Yeah. So you would see them out in the field. The ewe is running, Merlin in hot pursuit. Well, she doesn't have the energy of a 3-week-old lamb, so she finally had to give up.
That's right. And she's doing a good job looking after him.
She's doing a good job now.
He's really chunky.
You can't change your mind halfway through.
No,
he was on to her, and there was no maybe.
Right. Yeah. And there is a Nadia for the fans of Nadia, the jumper, as you recall. So those that don't know, we have a female, like a yearling ewe, that thought that she was going to join the Olympics in, I don't know if it's the high jump or the long jump or acrobatics or what.
But there's no puissance in the Olympics.
Anyway, she was always jumping into the feeders, and she would just jump from a flat 4 feet on the ground, just levitate. So now they're not eating out of feeders because they're out in the fields, and we've run out of grass that's growing, so we're actually rolling bales of hay out for them. So we're feeding them, but they're still out on the pasture. And now she is jumping on top of the bale. So we feed large round bales, which are about between 4 and 5 feet round, just depending on the bale that we have. And she is jumping right on top of the bale while you're trying to roll it out. And I don't think you were still over there yesterday or the day before when Ken and I rolled out the last bale. She didn't get off. She was like a log roller. She was going like this.
It's a treadmill for sheep.
Yeah. She was going like this, staying on top of the bale as we were rolling it, and she wasn't getting off.
Well, if that happens tomorrow morning, we'll record it and add it to this lamb montage that we're going to do right now.
Okay.
So we took some lamb footage, and we're going to go over there. We're not going anywhere, but we're going to go over to the field.
You guys are going to go to the field.
And look at how big the lambs are, and they're very cute. All right, so they've been no trouble.
No, really.
They really haven't.
Yeah.
And it's not that often that we say that about lambs.
No.
Yeah.
No. And we've been supplementing too, because their mom has doesn't have quite enough milk to keep two bouncing, growing lambs. So, but that's not even we do it when we feel like it.
Yeah.
When we remember to do it, just to help a little bit.
Ease off the demand a little bit.
Yeah,
it's not that she can't feed them, but it's nice to give her a little break.
Yeah.
When we can. So so that's someone asked us at Virtual Knit Night, which is still ongoing, by the way, and we only had about 15 people at the last one. So it's the last Monday of every month.
Right.
And we always send out the details in our newsletter. And I didn't send out a reminder this week because I was late getting home.
Right. I do want to talk about that because I answered some emails about people that couldn't find so once again, you need to subscribe at the bottom of our landing page on our website. In that box that says subscribe. If you have an account with Shopify,
it doesn't subscribe you.
It doesn't subscribe you. However, if you've chosen no marketing emails on Shopify, you also do not get the newsletter. So what happens, I think I figured it out because people thought that they subscribed, but they weren't getting the newsletter. So I've been sending out emails.
So if you've checked no marketing emails in Shopify, it overrides.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think that's what's happened. So you will get emails from Shopify if you purchase something. So what they consider transactional emails. Mm-hmm. So things that you need to know, like your account updates and stuff like that. But the newsletter is considered a marketing email. So if you've I don't know, if you check it or uncheck it, whatever. If you've made that distinction on your account, you will be counted in our subscribers, but you won't receive the emails that we send out every week.
Mm-hmm. So you have to log into your Shopify account. Check accepts email marketing.
I think, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
Because it really wasn't making sense.
And I've done it for people that have asked me, but I'm not really supposed to
go in and say that you're okay with getting
change
email.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mail.
Okay,
MailChimp
that makes sense.
or
so
Shopify.
If you've struggled with that might be your solution. Mm-hmm. And our new community forum is working well.
Yes.
I want to go in and tweak a few things so that we get notified when somebody says something so that we can respond more quickly and stuff like that. But I think the new platform's working.
Yeah.
And I haven't put any of my projects in really yet, but we definitely are going to be using it going forward.
Yeah. The pictures are great. People are talking to each other.
Perfect.
On the community, there's a community help
desk,
and people are chatting to each other on that, and it's really fun to so there's been a couple cases where we've met people in the store and then they've gone on the forum and they're posting their stuff with the yarn that they made, which is people were doing it on Ravelry, but I think this seems to be an easy way to do it. So
I think it's a little bit even more user friendly than the Ravelry forums.
Yeah.
Or it just looks cleaner.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. There's not a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah. All right. So that's great. So if you haven't joined the community forum already, you can link to it at the bottom of our website as well. It says community forum. You go in there. You use the same login you use for your Shopify store account. Yeah. And that will get you in. And you can tag people and comment in line and everything. It's really working well. Okay. Perfect.
So you might be confused about our what we're wearing.
Really?
Because I have an Aran weight sweater on. Yeah. And you have short sleeves, and that's kind of the weather that we've been having.
Yeah.
It's warm, but somehow you're still cold.
You're not too hot to wear a sweater.
No,
I just grabbed this out of the laundry.
Oh, okay.
So
was it the only thing you had clean?
Yeah, I don't know why I have it on, but and my back's actually bothering me, so I might be squirming around a lot.
Oh.
But yeah, maybe it's the strapless bra I'm wearing.
They're tight.
It's causing me problems. Yeah,
we learned a new trick from our the girl Rachel.
We can't show while we're sitting down, though.
No, but we're practicing right now. So if we look like we've got, if we look funny,
right?
This is why we're trying to practice it.
Yeah. So we're told
about posture.
If you're standing, you know how when some people take the camera, you always want to be like, you know, and you get this terrible double chin.
Yeah.
If you stick your butt out, apparently it fixes the double chin.
Yeah.
Try it in front of the mirror. Let us know how you make out.
Yeah, I did it this morning.
You did it in front of the mirror?
Yes, and it is absolutely true. The minute you go like that, it's just the way your whole body leverages.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. Well, you're welcome, everyone.
Yeah, so there you go.
If you've been plagued by double chin photos, as we have, then that's your fix. We got told bums out a lot during the photo shoot. So.
And shoulders down.
Oh, I don't have that problem.
I do.
Mine finally relaxed after having left Ontario for 3 years, but yours have never gone down.
No, plus I have a short neck anyway.
So that's still not tense.
Maybe I need a bit more massages. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. All right. So now knit night.
So listen carefully. So
to the following selection.
So we expect that some of you may disappear temporarily when we start to explain this. But come back and listen to all of what we're going to say because it gets a little confusing.
Well, no, they don't. You don't have to rush off. There's no shortage of tickets. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we don't know.
All right.
As per usual, we have no idea. Okay. So originally, we just wanted to have a knit night, a big knit night for everyone who was in town for the Fiber Festival. We were going to do it out at McPhail Homestead, which is a lovely historic property very close to us. Mm-hmm. Rachel was going to bake all the treats. God love her. Yeah. She's crazy.
Yeah.
And all that. And then we thought we might be able to arrange a few special guests from
people that were here
to teach and stuff to come knit with us, which would have been amazing, and we were really looking forward to it. It would have been a fantastic event in and of itself.
Right.
We're disappointed. Obviously, international travel is out. There's nobody coming on Prince Edward Island unless you live in Atlantic, Canada.
In the bubble.
So last episode, everyone who wasn't in Atlantic, Canada requested their refund for their tickets. We hope, if you haven't yet, please do so.
Because we haven't actually gone and verified if you have or not. But
no. So... But then,
yes,
through our association with Rowan, we had an opportunity to turn it into a different type of event.
Right.
Which is...
So...
Some people are still going to be attending in person.
Yes.
But there's also the option to watch it online.
Yeah.
If you can't attend. So for everybody watching all over the world, you can now participate, but you'll be doing it through YouTube streaming.
Right.
Okay.
And what the offer was with Rowan is to have a virtual event with some of their designers. Right. So if the people that are not familiar with Rowan, you should check out like some of the designers. We knit a lot of their designers
Martin
anyway.
Story, Kate Davies.
Yeah, exactly. They've got a whole host of excellent designers.
Yeah.
Two of which are the dynamic duo of Arne and Carlos. Mm-hmm. So guess who we will be hosting on our virtual / live knit night. Arne and
Virtually
Carlos.
Arne and Carlos. They're not coming here.
No. They're not coming
But they will
here.
be dedicated to our audience for, is it an hour? How long
Around
is
an hour.
Around an hour.
Yeah. So, and that's not all.
No.
So we'll tell you who the other guest is, and then we'll talk a little bit more about
the event and how it's going
to work. So also Trisha Malcolm, who at one time was at the helm of Vogue Knitting, has joined the team that manages Rowan, and she will also be virtually joining us that night and doing a presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just...
And just to be clear, Arne and Carlos are only doing 3 of these events in North America this fall, is that right?
I'm not sure exactly how many they are, but it's a very limited amount.
Not very many. And we were so lucky to be selected to get one of them. We begged a little. I would say that we mounted a good campaign.
Yes. We did a campaign, and we were very passionate because we are passionate. Yeah. I've been following Arne and Carlos for many years and started knitting the Christmas balls.
You've had Christmas balls to knit before I even knew about the balls.
Yes, that's right.
So right away you had that. Even before we even started this business.
I know.
We weren't even really knitters.
No.
You obviously thought you were.
Yeah. Yeah.
You bought the book.
I loved the idea. It just spoke to me. I liked the look of them and the fact that they were handmade and they're lovely. They were done. So I was on board early.
Okay. So Arne and Carlos and Trisha Malcolm will be our guests.
Right.
Virtually.
Yes.
They are not coming in person. However, we're very fortunate to even get to spend any time with them at all.
Yeah.
And So we have moved the venue to ensure adequate internet connection.
Yes, because unfortunately, the lovely venue that we had planned is also a rural location.
Yeah.
And in PEI, that's a no-go if you want to try to do something that's...
no can do.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
So we've arranged great audiovisual support and technical support to run the event to hopefully guarantee that it comes off without a hitch. And there are 3 tiers of tickets that you can now get.
So just to be clear, the event will be held at... There's a fine dining restaurant at... horse racing is quite a popular sport here in PEI, and not thoroughbred racing, but harness racing, which I think they do in the Nordic countries as well. Actually,
maybe
I think they still do. They do quite a lot. Yeah, it's not as well known, I guess, as thoroughbred racing, but it's done there. There's a lot of enthusiasts here in PEI. In particular, in Atlantic Canada. So they have a fantastic, world-class venue here for that. And they have I would consider it a fine dining restaurant. And
it's lovely.
Yeah. But it's a fine dining with a twist because they're catering to the horse racing community. So every table has a little monitor on it, TV monitor.
For simulcasting events all over the world.
Yeah. So, and they have a full technical setup that they have with an editing studio and a whole thing. So they're well prepared to handle our virtual knit night.
Right.
We hope.
In-person / virtual knit night.
Because there's a lot of moving parts to try to get this and pull it off well. Right. Because we have to link up with Arne Carlos in Norway. And I think Trisha is in New York, so we have to link up with her. We want to have it interactive, so people can interact with,
to an extent.
We
can't all just press our button and start talking, but there'll be a way to interact.
Yes. Yeah. So there was a lot of things to consider, and it all kind of came together this week. And we found out that
there are no bad seats because, again, there's a TV at your table.
Yes.
If you're there in person with the VIP level ticket, which is the ones you've already purchased. That was all that was available initially. Now we've added a second tier, which is in an auditorium of sorts. They call it the grandstand.
Yeah.
Where you would be sitting with your friends, perhaps, if you want to
bubble. Theater seating.
And it's theater seating, and there'll be a big 2 50-inch TVs, I think, to watch the event on. Yeah. And then the third option is to just join us online through YouTube streaming.
Right. So it'll be a private channel and a private link to attend the event live through streaming.
Right.
Right.
Whew, so it's big changes.
Yeah, so it's a lot, and there's more information on Eventbrite where you can see exactly what's included in the different tiers. So we'll be sending out more information as we get it. Like literally, this has really all just kind of been finalized yesterday
or this morning.
Yeah, or this morning at
actually. Yeah. So we really, really hope you'll consider joining us. We are just lamenting the fact that there is not a single fiber festival to go to.
Right.
No Tatamagouche, no Knit East, which is the off year for them anyway. Yeah. Obviously our own festival. Right. No Rhinebeck, I don't imagine. At least not for us. Yeah. I mean, we can't go anywhere because we'd have to isolate when we came back. Yeah. So it's sad this time of year. That's kind of what you start to think about. Right. We're at least like, should we go to Rhinebeck? Should we not? Should we go? And there's nothing. There's no option.
We don't need to think about it.
Right.
So instead we're thinking about this.
Yeah. So we're throwing it all into this. We're putting a lot of effort into making it a really special evening. Yeah. And it'll be really fun. And afternoon, sorry. It's at 2 p.m. now. Yes. Atlantic time. Yes. So if you're in the Atlantic provinces and you want to grab some friends and come out, it'll be a chance to gather as knitters, safely, yes, they're very prepared in terms of how to social distance and manage the event safely. Yeah. And we've got all the technical support hired to make sure it works. And I think it would be something I would want to do. We would probably be going if we weren't hosting it. Yeah.
And so there'd be there's the two things. So at some point we're going to be asking if you have questions that you want to ask, then we will manage the questions, just not to overwhelm the whole thing. And there'll be more information. So for people that are interested in updates and things, we do have a Rowan mailing list. So you can sign up for the Rowan mailing list. The link to that is always at the bottom of our newsletters. Yeah. And we will, for sure, you'll be the first to know, other than the podcast, because we'll be keeping some information going in between while we're doing the podcast.
And so we send updates through Eventbrite too.
Yeah, exactly. So we cannot tell you how excited we are because, because they're just great. Like, I mean, if anybody's watched Arne and Carlos, their quarantine episodes that they did with their YouTube channel, they were just fantastic and very heartwarming. I found.
And they do have, it's not all question answer. They have a formal presentation that they're going to do.
It's mainly a formal presentation. Yeah. So they have new patterns out, new Nordic unisex, which is a pattern book that they did for Rowan. And they're going to talk about that and their inspirations and things like that. So they're going to, there's kind of a planned program for them. And then we'll have an opportunity to.
I mean, I am super excited. Like, I'm an introvert, but man, this has been.
Yeah. Anyway,
like the occasional evening or afternoon out is fine. You know, like, holy smokes.
Yeah, and it's been moved to 2:00 because we're accommodating Norwegian time zone. So that's why it's the time.
So we hope that's good news and you're excited and you'll pick up some tickets. There's, again, 3 ways that you can attend. The VIP tables, the auditorium style, or just from the comfort of your own home with the dedicated VIP viewing link through YouTube streaming. So, all right, good.
And it won't be recorded.
No.
So it is like a live event. So,
all right. Whips and rips.
Phew.
Yeah.
It seems like I just need to take a breath now after that. Yeah. It's been really, really hard for me to keep this a secret that we were working on it because I don't keep secrets very well. They're definitely leaders, stars in the industry. Like we're pretty stoked. Yeah. So.
All right, good.
Okay. So we just disappeared for a minute and now we're back because I actually had to get a glass of water. I think my throat is dry because Ken and I had a little night out last night. So we went, our good friend Amanda Jackson had her first public performance in 6 months. And so we went to a venue downtown and we stayed overnight in the hotel there. And now my throat is dry. So anyway, so that's that.
Okay. We're supposed to be talking about whips and rips. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so where's your thing?
What am I doing first?
This.
All right.
You've got this whole thing.
Yeah. So here's, you can barely call it, it's the embryo of a whip. Okay. So my swatches, these are my 3 swatches that I did for Paisley. I finally got it figured out. And so.
That's some swatching dedication.
Yes. I was very determined to get this fixed. So we're going to do it like we did the last time, a little close up to show the 3 swatches, but I'll explain to you what I did with the 3 swatches. I'm happy finally with the 3rd one that I did. I'm ready to cast on, and I would have cast on, I was going to cast on at Virtual Knit Night, but I thought I now have to cast on 300 stitches. I wasn't going to do that. So I finished my Sunday cardigan instead, and I'm ready to go with this.
So that's your only whip then.
That's my only whip.
Quick. Okay.
So, but I have to sew my buttons on my cardigan, but we're going to show it as a finished object.
Okay. Instead. So, but now you're going to go do another little separately filmed discussion about what your final determination with these swatches.
That's right. And how I fixed my gauge problem.
Okay. So we're going to go over to that now.
Okay. So here we are. The swatch, the final chapter of the swatch story for my Paisley cardigan. So this is my original swatch that I knit in the round, and I loved it. So this is the Paisley pattern. The only problem with this swatch was, first of all, it was too small. Second of all, I didn't do any of the checkerboard on it. So even though I understood clearly what the gauge was on this pattern, I went ahead and started my sweater, and the gauge on the checkerboard was different than the gauge on the Paisley pattern, and it ended up being too tight, if you recall. So that swatch, as beautiful as it is, was not helpful at all. So the second swatch I did is this one, where I incorporated the checkerboard and the paisley. I went up a needle size to try to get gauge, and I really just didn't like the fabric. It's too loose. I tried two ways of knitting. I kept the blue in my right hand and the gray in my left hand in the top swatch, and I kept the gray in my right hand and the blue in my left hand on the bottom swatch, and I didn't like either one of them. They're not balanced. So that was when I started my quest to try to find some kind of hybrid method. And as you may recall from the last episode, I looked at a lot of different YouTube videos, one by Marie Wallen and another one by Roxanne Richardson, to try to figure out how I'm going to fix my tension problems on this. So I started another swatch and the third and final one, and I finally had success. Oh, it's upside down. So the solution for me, I went back to the smaller needle size because I just like the look of it better. And these two, it looks like a little demarcation line here, but it's actually just me trying to figure out my tension. So in the end, one of the hints from Marie Wallen's YouTube video on Fair Isle Knitting was that the main color is whatever color in the row you have the most stitches of. So that could be different depending on what row of the pattern you are. So that's the first thing I fixed. So whenever I came to a row, I was using the gray as my main color and holding that in my right hand. And then whenever I came to one of the square patterns, where the blue is predominant in the stitch count, I switched the blue to my right hand. So the main color is always in my right hand. And you can see I started trying to adjust my attention as I went down to get a feeling for what the right amount of tension was. So what ended up happening was my tension when the yarn is held in my right hand was tighter than the tension when my yarn was held in my left hand. So I increased the tension on my left hand by winding my yarn twice around my baby finger. That's what I did. That was the fix that worked for me. And on the right hand, I tried to relax and be a little bit looser. And by the time I got down in the swatch, I was at a look that I liked for my knitting, and I could feel that I was starting to get into the rhythm with that feel of how the yarn felt, the tensioning of the yarn in both hands. So that's it. So now I'm going to do this. I still do not have the pattern tension, but the tension in the checkerboard and the tension in the paisley pattern are exactly the same. So as you recall, we talk about it in the video, the main video as well, is that I got the 2 balls of yarn that I needed, extra balls of yarn. I'm going to go up a size in the pattern. I've done all of the measurements again. I measured myself again just to make sure that I have the ease that I want. And this tension will work on the larger size of the pattern. And I'm happy with the way that how the patterning is coming out in the swatch as well. So that's the solution that worked for me. The moral of the story is that it's worth your time to just go through the swatch and try different things as you go, and you can see the differences as I corrected little parts of my tension all the way down. The other thing that I want to mention is that you'll notice that there's no strings hanging on here. So I have to say that I felt pretty much like a knob, because the worst part of knitting these swatches in the round is all of that looping of the yarn around the back. And I knew I was going to do a longer swatch anyway, and I thought, why am I not just using my shorty needles in the size that I want to knit it in? Because I do have 3.5 millimeter needles in short cable size. And then I did a steek on either side of the pattern that I wanted to do. So I just worked in the round on a cylinder that was about a circumference like that, so it was easy to knit. I could get into a rhythm. And since this is not a garment, I just cut the steek. I didn't reinforce it or anything. And you can see it's actually, because this wool is good for steeking, it's not moving. And it made the whole process, first of all, a lot faster, and second of all, a lot more pleasurable to do. So there's a little tip for you when you're doing these kind of complex and larger swatches. So that's it.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Done. All right. So, okay, I'll just do this one really quickly. So, I'm still working on this Pabaigh. I can't believe I haven't got to wear it yet. I'm done the front. And I now have to go back and do almost the exact same thing on the back. So the sleeve is being formed in here.
Since... okay.
So this is the front, and then I'll go do the back only slightly higher.
Okay.
And then you join it together, sleeve, funnel, neck.
Okay. I'm so interested. I'm gobsmacked.
Why?
Because I think that might be a solution for something I wanted to do that I'll talk about after. That construction like that.
Okay.
Okay.
I was wondering. I thought, gosh.
Yeah.
What's judging the amount of knitting I've done or what?
No. I'm just thinking, I think that can work for something that I want to do. A modification I want to do on a pattern that I'm going to knit.
Okay. Great. So anyway, this is the front.
Could help.
Yeah. That's my armpit hole.
Perfect. Because it actually looks just exactly like a regular set-in sleeve shape.
Yeah.
So you're doing set-in sleeve, but on a round knitted body.
I don't know. Kate's a genius. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Poor Sam.
I don't know what else. Sam, who does the shipping for Kate. He's sorry he ever met us. Not really, but he's sorry he ever met the U.S. Postal Service.
Or UPS.
UPS.
Who are normally really good. But
gosh, I misspoke.
We had a little debacle.
UPS, not USPS. Get it right, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Okay. We had quite a debacle. There was an open box. Okay.
Yeah.
Love you, Sam. Thank you for sorting us out. So, I mean, I don't know where I'll be. I'm trying to knit. I'm just a social butterfly these days. I'm very busy.
Yeah.
I'm gone all the time.
She's tired, but
I'm never home.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Okay. So that's Pabaigh.
Yeah. So, you've made quite a good progress with that.
I thought so, but the other day you were like, what happened? It was going so fast before.
Well, you were going like double time, but now, I mean...
Well, I can only do so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so FOs, I'm just going to do mine first really quickly. So I didn't have anything too exciting to finish other than this adorable little hat.
Yeah.
Which is the Garter Stitch Earflap Hat.
Yes. Brenda's very worried about the length of these.
I know. Just thought the child might strangle itself. I don't think she will.
Spoken like a childless person.
But it's really like a photo op type hat.
Right.
I mean, I made it to match the sweater. Call me a terrible person. I don't know. If they're unsafe, the mother will have to decide.
Yeah.
It's off me.
Here.
It's a whole little outfit, you see?
Yeah. Wow, their heads are big.
And I sewed these. Well, I don't know if they're that big. I mean, by the time she can wear it, it might not be a choking hazard.
Well, she might not be able to wear them both together. This fabric is really quite something.
That's why I want to finish my Pabaigh so I can get back to my darkness.
I mean, calling it Little Lamb and knitting it with that brushed fleece is really the bomb.
Super happy. I love my floppy Muppety pom-pom.
Yeah.
Which I would have made a bit fuller, but I did exactly the number of wraps she suggested in the pattern.
Right.
But it's like a little Muppet.
Oh, no, it's cute. Yeah.
So, anyway, that's all the FO I FO'd.
Yeah.
This time.
All right.
And yours is a whip/FO, I don't know.
Yes, I actually wore it last night. Yeah. So the Sunday cardigan is basically done. The neck has been sewed down. I finished it. I have to block it because it needs to be pinned down a little in the back because it is kind of riding up a bit. But I haven't put the buttons on yet. And
it's big.
Yeah, it's big.
It's big.
Yeah.
We cannot win with the Sunday cardigan. We'll actually be knitting Sunday cardigans till the cows come home.
But you know what? You've been telling me that it's okay, the size is okay and everything, and it is very cozy and comfy. I think it gives the feeling that the designer had won it.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Even though it's pretty loose.
Well, it'll not be so drapey with the buttons on it.
Right. And you know what I discovered? just now, like right before I came in here.
You made a mistake and it's bigger than it was supposed to be?
Yes. I did my swatch with a sized 6mm needle and liked the fabric and had my gauge with the swatch that I did.
And then knit it with a 7?
And then knit it with the 7. And I didn't even know.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Do you see there is no end to the mistakes that we can make? No end. That is such a me thing to do. I'm shocked.
I didn't even notice because, and the reason why I found out was that I had taken the swatch. Why did I have the swatch in the house?
I wouldn't even have the note on my swatch. That would have been such a distant memory for me.
I have the swatch tagged, and the tag fell off. So was
that the one that was on the lawn
yes.
out here?
Oh! Yes. So the swatch got gathered up with all the garments that we had yesterday in the shop, taking pictures of them. And so when I came back to the house, the tag fell off the swatch, unbeknownst to me. So then this morning, when I was getting ready to go out to the shop, I noticed that the swatch was in the whole pile of sweaters that I had, but the tag was gone. So I looked around for the tag for a few minutes and couldn't find it, so I had to go to work. So that's it. It was out. And when I was coming over here, literally right before I sat down to do this, I found the tag to the swatch on the lawn. So it's been there since yesterday. And I picked it up and looked at it, and I said, "Oh yeah, okay. Well, there it is. Good. I'm glad. I'm going to put it back on." And then it was 6mm. What? The swatch on 6mm. So I knit a bigger size. No, I knit the size that I want it because I have the gauge that I had on the 6mm needle, and then knit it with the 7mm. And I added stitches because I started to panic because everybody was saying that it was tighter than they expected.
But not if you had accidentally already gone up a millimeter. It wouldn't be tighter than you expected.
That's right.
It would be looser.
Right.
Well, this project, we're cursed. I wish mine had turned out like that because then it would have fit you at least. But I can't wear that.
So it's big, but it's not. I'm kind of loving it.
Well, it's very cozy, but it's like a robe almost.
I'm not gonna wear it. And come around Halloween, I can dress up as a bear.
Are you gonna knit another one now? Then
I don't know. I liked working on it, and I really love it.
I would really love it too if mine fit.
Yeah. So I'm torn, but I can't really invest the time. There's so many things that I want to do. I can't really.
That's the hard thing about going back. And I still want to knit a second step aside and who knows what.
I actually wore it last night because it got a little bit chilly when we went to dinner, and so I had it on, and it suits exactly the kind of feel. It feels exactly the way you would expect the Sunday cardigan, and the look of the softness, and you can wrap it around you and whatever. So I'm not in the same boat you are. Like, I'll for sure wear it, and I already wore it, and then I put it on this morning as well when we went for breakfast. So for sure I'm gonna wear it. It'll probably be the thing I'm gonna wear the most. I said that about the Cornwallis, but I actually wore it over the Cornwallis last night. So, but that explains why it was so big.
I'm shocked.
I know. No,
I'm never gonna.
You're shocked.
This. I know, but you're the details person. Like, that is such a thing. I've done that. I mean, for sure, I've done that. I get halfway through a project. I don't remember what needles I was using.
Yeah, and but I had a tag on my swatch.
When you go, I'll put it down, and then it's time to do the sleeve, and I'll be like, I have no idea what size I knit this body in. How am I going to knit the sleeve now? Good thing you take notes and lose them on the lawn.
Yeah. And I mean, I would never have known, except I found the tag that blew off the swatch. So
something else. Okay, we'll throw it on for a minute so they get an idea.
Well, I've got a big sweater on too.
I know, but
okay. Anyway, it's very cozy.
Hilarious. Don't you want to? Oh gosh.
And it's going to be perfect in this house of ours, which, not only is plastic.
And of course, it's not going to pill or anything. You can wear it on the couch watching.
Yeah. I had it. I threw it on.
What happened to Call the Midwife? This is a Call the Midwife watching sweater.
Yeah, exactly. Another favorite show of ours. So, people were asking what show I said.
Bosch.
Yes, Bosch. And it's on Prime.
Yes. And I'm watching it now, and it's really good.
Yeah. So that was the crime story that I was...
Oh, yeah. It does look better with the heavier sweater underneath it.
Yes, because this Aran sweater adds another 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So if we keep layering, soon I won't be able to fit in the chair. All right. So,
but the color is beautiful.
It's I can't describe it. I keep saying that. It's just...
It looks like a sapphire.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people have bought the Garfield Grizzly in A Night Without Stars to knit this now.
Yeah.
Just get your gauge right. Don't switch your needles.
Yeah.
Accidentally between the swatch and the actual project.
So, perfect plans. That's
hilarious. That's such a me thing to do.
And then I have the buttons to go on it. And the sleeves are the right length that I wanted because they're supposed to be long and whatever. So they're not too big. And I started knitting a bit tighter on the arms because I thought, oh, okay, I knew I had plenty of room in the body. So the sleeves are actually not as loose as you might think considering the mistake that I made. So.
Did you tell Ken that?
No, he doesn't. I literally picked it up, went, oh, shoot, and put it down and then came in here. So he doesn't
Such a me thing to do. I think it's hilarious. You're getting worse. I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah. But I'm glad that it explains it because I'm the preacher.
I know, but it wasn't really making sense.
No, and I'm the one preaching about just trust if you do the measurements, just trust. And I was like, well,
that's embarrassing. Okay.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, but okay.
All right, we have a couple more FOs that are Jennifer Hicks FOs.
Okay.
Jennifer works with us, and she's helping us do a bit of knitting because...
This is going to come in handy when the wood runs out next winter.
Yeah. As it will. As we know, it will. Okay, so we wanted to have a little sample knit up in the felted tweed because we were so excited to get felted tweed. Mm-hmm. And a little bit more on that during the shop update. But this is the Cartography Hat by Tin Can Knits. And Jennifer has knit this for us. And the colors in it are watery. Winter blue is the kind of greeny. Clay is the gray. And pink bliss is the pink here. Mm-hmm. So if you like that color scheme, that'll all be in the show notes below. Mm-hmm. Really cool fabric.
Yeah.
Like light but warm.
Yeah.
Beautiful colors.
Yeah.
This is the first thing knit in felted tweed that we've ever held ourselves. Do I look normal?
Yeah.
More or less. I mean, as much as can be expected.
No, yes. very, very boho.
Okay.
You must have a pretty big head.
I do. I take a large riding helmet.
Oh, okay. Because it's really, it's funny because we had Ken try it on so we could look at it.
He has a tiny head.
Yeah, I know. He's got a tiny head.
Okay, well that doesn't mean mine's big, but I do take a large.
Yeah, why didn't you get a lot of hair?
Today it's straight and pretty flat, but okay.
Not Ken's problem.
Anyway, Cartography by Tin Can Knits, knit in felted tweed.
Yeah.
And I love the fabric. It's super lightweight.
Yeah.
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 And of course they have just the most beautiful colors.
And I have alpaca, so it's...
yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is a little foray into felted tweed, and I think we're going to get Jennifer to make us something else a little bit more substantial to show later.
Her color work is perfectly balanced.
Yeah, she's a good knitter.
Yeah,
she did a good job on this.
Her tension, she's always hit gauge. She always hits gauge, and
so thank you, Jennifer, because we know she's watching. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now another little thing happened, which we were totally blown away by, and somehow we missed the email because we're horrible people, and keeping a track of our email with the two of us in it at once is we're really trying to figure out how to manage it. But one of our viewers / customers, Susan, did a pattern for our Selkirk Worsted.
Unsolicited.
Just out of the kindness of her heart, or for whatever reason. She said, I'm no pattern designer, but I can tell you she is.
Yes, definitely. Well, she is now.
These flip mitts, so we had Jennifer knit these up just to test the pattern.
You can tell Jennifer is a much faster knitter than we are.
I don't know what I'm doing.
She gets projects done.
I don't know what I do with my time. Okay. But how much do we love these?
Yeah, I know.
I really can't describe this fabric other than that it's woolly perfection.
Yes. But not
so whatever the gauge is in here, they're soft, they're warm.
Yeah.
They fit beautifully. This is Selkirk Worsted and Blueberry Preserves.
Yeah.
And we're not sure how Susan wants to sell the pattern just yet, or how she wants us to handle it, but we'll put the information in the show notes below because I'm going to be sorting that out before we go live with this video.
The pattern is really well done.
So I tried these on. They weren't even finished. I think she had one. And I was like, I need a pair of these. Knit me a pair.
Yeah.
So I handed Jennifer 2 balls of yarn. Off she went. She's got one made for me now because these are like the store sample. Mm-hmm. I hauled these out again today to take them out here. Ken tried them on.
Yeah.
He's like, I need a pair of those.
Yeah.
go pick out your yarn. Jennifer left with 2 balls of yarn to knit him a pair. Mm-hmm. They're mitten perfection.
Yes, they are.
So Susan, if you are watching, we love the pattern. Thank you so much for putting what must have been a tremendous amount of effort into this.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful.
Right. Lovely.
These are the best mittens ever.
Yeah. And just if you want to talk about the fabric a little bit, because they're knit on a smaller gauge, but it's the same. The Selkirk Worsted is the same thing that I knit the hinterland with.
Yes.
And this gauge is a half needle, like a 0.5 millimeter smaller, so it's a bit more dense. But this same kind of I don't know how to describe it.
Buttery,
it's like
soft and smooth.
Smooth, very smooth fabric is. It's funny because with that photographer yesterday, there was your Rachel. She kept saying, "Put that green sweater on again. Put that green sweater on again." It just has a look to it.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
It's warm and smooth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not woolly. Like it's not
I know, it's like a beautiful tailored wool coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Gorgeous. And thank you again, Susan. And thank you, Jennifer, for knitting these and now knitting some for the whole family.
Right. because there's 2 professional knitters in the family that don't have time to knit.
Anything for
their loved ones.
For their loved ones.
I'm doing a sweater for Ken next, so
I've been requested a sweater. Update at 11. Somebody's asked to get on the knit list. It's a careful consideration taking place to determine if that's going to be happening or not. Okay, for a whole sweater too. Yeah, nothing like starting small.
Commitment.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so is that FOs? Have okay, link to this pattern below and the colors that Jennifer used. Link to how to get this pattern below. And this is in blueberry preserves. I'm sure we'll have the information by Friday.
Yeah.
And she did kind of say, Susan said, do whatever you want with it. But I mean, I obviously checked with her about how she wants to handle that. So that's done.
Yes.
Okay. So now shop update time.
Right.
Okay. And we have loads of Ask Us Anything. So this is going to be a long episode, I think.
All right.
First and foremost, we've made Lopi again.
Yes.
We've done this once before on here. We've done it many times.
Yeah.
But this is from Blommen Farm, which is a Prince Edward Island Icelandic sheep farm.
Right.
We bought their entire clip.
Yes.
Yes. We're making it into a natural Lopi. If there's a lot of lighter stuff, eventually I may dye a batch or 2. Pretty color, like maybe a nice pink and a blue. Mm-hmm. But for now, we have this natural brown.
Right.
This is like a heather taupe.
Yes, it's kind of a taupey color.
And a silver.
Right.
So these are being listed. We haven't even got enough done to show the whole thing for this. But these will all be going up Friday.
Right.
And there's more coming, but this is what we have done so far.
So if we'll probably have more done by Friday, maybe. Yeah. So I don't know if we'll have time to put pictures up, but there'll be more. There'll be more that we'll add to the website.
So this is called Heatherdale Lopi. Is pretty much what we call our Lopi product. Mm-hmm. The specs are very batch specific.
Yes.
So we have a little bit of Heatherdale left from last year. I'm going to list at the same time, but these, instead of being 100 yards, or 125.
125 for 110 grams.
Right. So just look as you're buying at the specific weight and yardage next to the color that you're choosing, basically.
Yes, and I did change the way that I'm spinning it a little bit. So I've been trying to perfect my Lopi spin for a while now because I've only had like small amounts to do it with. And I think I finally hit on the right combination of twist and... there's a lot to consider. It seems like it should be easy to do, but there's a lot to consider because you have to take out some of the guard hair, but you can't take out too much, and the twist makes a big difference in how soft and smushy
and balanced. It's perfectly balanced.
Yeah. So I think it's taken 4 years, but
we haven't done it that often in the grand scheme of
and
things.
It's very has a very silky feeling to it as well.
It's gorgeous. Like this brown I'm holding.
Yeah.
Soft.
Yeah.
I think you got just the right amount of guard hair. Like it's, I love this stuff. I've knit several hats out of this before, and people beg to take them, and I end up with mutton. But so it's lovely.
You're really with the way that this is. It's really lightly processed, so you're going to get the full benefits of having the soft, short undercoat with just enough. I can never remember which is the top and which is the tail or whatever. Yeah, however you
fell. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, the two types of Icelandic experts. The two types of wool that they produce, and it's sturdy. And I have a really, really great story about why I did this color first.
Oh,
because a customer called me. Oh, right. And she was looking, or she emailed to us, and she was looking at all of the yarns on her website, and she saw the brushed fleece, the Rowan brushed fleece, and asked me if a certain color is a certain color. So is this a true gray or whatever? And so I wrote her back and I said, why don't you call me and tell me what you're looking for? So what she was actually looking for is, she's a rug hooker, and her neighbor, she lives off island in the winter, but she's here in the summer. And her neighbor here on PEI had a rug. I think it was 100 years old. It was her grandmother's rug. So a hooked rug made with wool that needed a repair. So our customer wanted to repair it, but she couldn't find a wool that matched. Of course, because when I saw the rug, I told her to bring it to the shop. When I saw the rug, she was never going to find a commercial yarn that was going to fix it, because it was obviously a hand spun, probably done with the wool from the sheep that was on the grandmother's farm, like a totally rustic, and 100 years old. So I said, well, this is your lucky day, because I have by the Carter right now, ready to go, a yarn that I think when I make it will match perfectly. So I picked the bag that had the color that looked most, that I could remember, was most closely related to the one that she was trying to use to repair the rug. And I spun it. And she came yesterday to pick it up, and honestly, you couldn't have done it more perfectly. The only thing she needs to do now is throw a little bit of red dirt on it.
So she must have been very happy.
Yeah, so she took a full skein. She's got like she needed probably 1.5 yards to fix where she has to fix, but because it matches so perfectly, she's going to give the woman the full skein. So if she ever needs to have it repaired again, she's got enough to repair the rug if it needs touch-ups again.
Keep the moths away from it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a really odd combination because it's gray but it's brown. It's got a real taupe look to it, like you said. And it's not that easy to find because this spin is really lightly processed, the variegations in the color matched the original yarn perfectly.
Wow.
And brushed fleece is lovely and good for a lot of things, but not for a rug that you actually put on the floor.
Right.
It's a soft, like a very soft yarn. So whereas this will wear like the original.
Right.
It'll last another 100 years.
Well, that was really lucky, because the chances of wandering into your local yarn shop and finding something like that are pretty slim.
Yeah.
Yeah. But good. That's a good news story.
I loved it. It's very satisfying to be able to do something like that.
Sometimes I've matched, dyed things to match and stuff to help people out with rugs and stuff too. Yeah. It's always very satisfying.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the special Lopi. So
more
link to purchase in the show notes. Okay, more colors to come. Yeah, that'll be maybe by next episode. It'll all be out and available and probably gone.
Right.
All right. So the other shop update is that we now have all of the Rowan felted tweed shades that are available. There's a couple that have been back ordered from Rowan.
Yes.
But we've actually ramped up really quickly.
Yes.
We've got them all.
Yes. And unfortunately, the next shipment that we're getting will have most of the ones that we're missing right now. The only one that's still outstanding is clay.
Okay.
So it's a gray.
Right.
And it's the one that's used in that hat.
Okay.
So...
but we have a few left.
Yeah, we have a couple
because you only need one ball to do this hat.
Yeah, we have a couple left, but it's a very popular color, but it is still on back order. But Rowan is really good about, they just ship you the back orders as soon as they come in. So the minute it's available in North America, we will have it.
Right.
Well, the minute.
But that's pretty cool, because how many colors do they have?
I think it's 48.
Wow. 48. So I didn't think we'd be able to stock up that quickly.
Yeah, so we have all of those colors, and there's new colors coming out for the fall-winter season.
Right.
And those are coming October 1st, I think.
Right.
So we've already ordered them.
Yeah, and there's a question about knit-alongs later on, and I think we might put felted tweed into that. Okay. So that's a felted tweed update. You're probably sick of hearing about felted tweed, but we're super excited.
Yeah.
Because the colors, and it's sweater weather.
The variegation, like the gradations of the colors are really amazing.
And tweed is not something we can really get into trying to create with our own mill right now, so it's just kind of cool for us. Yeah. And obviously it's a very popular yarn with everybody.
If you're keeping track, we now have every shade of Kid Silkays that they make and is available. If anybody wants burnt caramel, it's discontinued. We still have one ball of that. So by remote, that's it. So every shade that's available. We have every shade that's available in felted tweed, including the ones that are coming out. They'll be here in October. We have every shade of Summer Light DK, and there were a couple shades that were out of stock on that. That's a cotton yarn, so I mean, it's not really.
Did all the Summer Light 4-ply come in yet?
And we'll have all of the Summer Light 4-ply.
Because people are asking about the bikini. That's what I'm waiting for. The color I wanted to make the bikini in has been back ordered forever.
Yeah. So now I think that's coming.
Okay.
For next
week. It's finally
week.
coming.
Yeah.
I'm still making the bikini. I'm still learning to crochet, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. And we have all of the shades in fine lace. The Rowan fine lace, which is also
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Earhart shawl, blah, blah, blah. And so, we're really moving quite quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're collecting up some lines. So if you like Rowan, please check out the Rowan section of our website, because we're really working hard to make sure we have a really good selection for you, and you only have to buy stuff from one place instead of hunting and pecking around for colors. All right. So the other exciting thing that finally came in, where did it go, is the needle gauge from Cocoknits. They're already mostly gone. So it was off pre-order for a minute, and now it's going to be back on pre-order, but we will order more. Mm-hmm. And they are available from Cocoknits. But I was so excited to get this little guy in person. It's so fun. It snaps back together.
Because it has a little magnet at the end.
There's little magnets here, yeah. And you stick your needle in. It tells you what size it is. Pretty rainbow colors that always make me so super happy. Mm-hmm. Obviously very well made. It's actually made with a water-soluble, fancy kind of newfangled plastic, though, so you cannot get it wet.
Yeah.
That's one thing. It comes with a little warning about that, but we're thrilled with it.
Yeah.
We had no doubt whatsoever that it would be amazing, and we love it.
Folks at Cocoknits actually did an experiment and put it in a glass or a bowl of water. Okay. It took 3 weeks to disintegrate.
Okay.
But it was, you don't want to get it wet.
Watch me try to figure out what size needle this is. So fun. There we go. Perfect. So that's how it works. And if I only had my glasses on, I would be able to tell you. Yeah. It's a 5 US.
All right. So, and could you do this?
Oh, I know what you're going to do. Put it in the top and then see how far it goes down?
No.
Because the tip is tapered. That won't quite work.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Won't work.
Fun.
Oh, well, but you could play with that for hours and see if you could figure it out.
It's just so fun.
Yeah.
I just love all the bright colors always.
Yeah.
So cute. And it all just flips back around, and it's tiny.
Yeah.
Like, how convenient.
I really didn't get it from the picture, like exactly what. Did. Yeah, but what size it was going to be.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So that's in the shop now, but I mean, they're going to be sold out probably by the end of this episode. So I'm just going to put it back on pre-order and we'll get more.
Yeah, they have them in stock.
But the postage has been slow. Yeah. These come from California.
Yeah.
And it took a month last time. So just be aware, if you pre-order, you'll be waiting a while. And if you put other things in your order, we won't ship them until this arrives, unless you write and make a special request. Yeah. It'll all hold until those arrive. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
And we just wanted to say, reminder that we have James Bond, or James, we're not allowed to say Bond, t-shirts, and the project bags are back in stock.
Right.
These were out for a bit. Everything's just so much slower. I thought I ordered. That's a whole other story. Anyway, there was a little bit debacle with the ordering. We actually ran out, even though we've had tons of them forever. Mm-hmm. So they're now back in stock.
Yeah.
I love these bags. I really do.
They're a very reasonable price. For a sweater, like a sweater quantity.
Yeah. They're super comfy to carry, and
right.
The black straps don't get dirty, you know, that
well thought out, Jen. You designed them.
Yeah, well. And it's got a sheep on it. I mean, how can you?
Yeah, how can you resist?
So these are good gifts for knitters.
Right.
And I think that's it.
Okay.
So
the next thing.
After the chicken bones thing, I mean, I've lost all faith in this world.
Chicken bones won by a mile. People love them.
Everybody loves chicken bones.
Except for you and 3 other people.
I don't get it. And somebody sent us some.
Yeah.
Bless them.
And well, we had a package arrive from Rachel.
Right.
Who we weren't sure exactly what it was. And we opened it up and we were just delighted.
Yeah,
for a minute.
She sent us chicken bones, which I tried again. Sticking with my story. Can't stand them.
I'm eating them.
Disgusting. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Have at her.
Yeah.
Peppermint
knobs. Not gobs.
Not
like
gobs.
What I was calling them.
Peppermint knobs. And something called climax mixture, which
I didn't dare Google it. But luckily, I made a comment on the YouTube comments that I wasn't Googling it. So somebody, brave soul, Googled it and then wrote and said, okay, here's the link. You're safe.
Oh. What did it say? What information did she find out from Googling it?
Well, that it was Purity. She got the right thing.
And Purity is a Newfoundland confectionery company.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And the climax mixture is really good.
Yes.
That is my favorite.
Yes.
I've eaten half the bag, and it's all different flavors. And
I don't think it goes by color, because some of the... do you think that there's more than one flavor in the color?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It goes by color.
Oh, okay.
But I'm pretty sure I'm a climax mixture expert now.
Oh, okay. Because she ate the whole bag. Because I can't... The climax of the climax mixture story.
Kim had one, and what happened?
I'm a cruncher.
It's so annoying. Like, you're in the car, and it's like, why don't you suck that peppermint? Please. I beg you.
Crunch. So I crunch everything from burnt kernels in popcorn, which you do as well.
Yeah.
You do that.
Not in the car.
No. So I
am such a kernel. I am such a kernel cruncher that I was upstairs. This is a terrible story. I probably shouldn't tell anyone this. I can
hardly wait.
I was up in my bed.
I have dug my hands in bowls of popcorn and found crunched kernels at the bottom.
I am hardcore.
Yeah.
So, like, if it's burnt and it's got that little bit of extra burnt corn flavor, I'm all over it.
Yeah.
So I was in my bed. Probably I needed reading glasses at the time, but didn't have them yet. This is awful. And I looked down, and I had been eating popcorn, and I thought an errant kernel had, like, fallen out of the bowl into the bed.
How could you have missed one? Oh, I think I know the story you're going to tell. It's not a mouse turd. It's worse.
It would be worse.
Yes.
So, and it was pretty big for a kernel, I think. I clearly needed my glasses. Anyway, I was like, oh, a little burnt kernel I missed. And I went and I picked it up, and I was like, whoa! It was a full tick that had just fallen off my dog. And I had never seen a tick. So, I mean, I was like, what?
Yeah,
is that
disgusting?
Good thing I didn't pop it in my mouth.
Good thing you didn't sleep overnight with it in your bed.
It was dead.
Oh, it was dead.
Yeah. Oh, it was dead.
Oh, well, because that's your flea and tick medicine was working.
But she got a whole gob full of something because it was quite a size. But I think it wasn't as big as they get when they're fully engorged. Someone told me.
Oh, gross.
Anyway, I almost popped it in my mouth. I'm sure everyone's turning this off now, or vomiting, or gagging. But yeah. Anyways.
For those that don't know about the mouse turd story,
it's another episode.
Is that on the playlist? Yeah.
No, it'll be going on.
Okay.
So you were talking about your climax mixture.
Yes.
You're a cruncher.
I popped in the climax mixture. Now I have to describe, because the peppermint knobs are kind of the same thing. They have kind of, it's not shiny candy. It's kind of rough, sugary.
Yeah.
And like these types of candy, I think as they get kind of like a sugary coating on them that's softer, and then inside it stays hard. It's almost like they change over time.
Right. Great.
But
it was a nice aged bag of climax mixture.
No, I don't think so. I think it was fresh.
No.
So the sugary coating was quite thin on the outside. When you have them at Christmas and they're still there in the middle of January, and then I think you get more sugary coating part.
Okay.
So Anyway, so I started crunching it, and I was crunching it, and then I hit the hard part, and I was crunching it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is really hard. And I swallowed, and then, I don't know, kind of felt funny on the side of my tooth. I broke my tooth.
Took the side right off it.
And swallowed it.
With the climax texture.
Yes. So the climax was that I ended up calling the dentist, and now I need a crown.
Costly.
Yes, that was so. No more crunching.
Don't feel bad, Rachel, for sending them that.
No,
the rest of it
completely my fault. And my enjoyment of the climax mixture was a little bit tainted, I have to say.
Well, I loved it.
Yeah, I know.
I've eaten the whole bag, except for the pink cinnamon ones, because they taste too much like chicken bones.
But they're not made by the same company.
I know.
Yeah.
Cinnamon hard candy is not my friend. I don't know.
Yeah, I loved it. I ate the chicken bones.
You haven't eaten all of them yet.
Not all of them.
Thank you so much for sending the candy.
Yeah, it was delicious.
They're bigger than I remember.
Yeah.
Have they grown?
I know. I think there's another brand that makes them, but these are the original.
Okay.
And best
huge.
ones. They're darker pink too.
The best ones.
Yeah, these ones are the best ones. Get on chicken bones.
Okay.
And thank you for everybody that wrote and talked about their favorite candy, because it's been really good.
What's with the peanut butter and peach thing?
I'm not sure. Right. I'm not sure if they're all called chicken bones, though. Are they?
Well, they can call them chicken bones if they want, but they're not the chicken bones that we're talking about.
No,
ours
but
they're definitely cinnamon.
Yeah, but there seems to be a really wide variety of candies that are made in the chicken bone style. I think they're called straws in some places, and kind of like
I don't know, but some of them are peach with peanut butter.
Yeah, that we didn't get.
I mean, I'd be willing to try it.
I don't know, but but who am I to say when
were those ones called peach blossoms?
I don't know.
There was some good ones. Go through the comments.
Yeah. There's some.
See if you recognize anything.
Yeah.
From your childhood.
Well, I would try anything once. Okay. So I don't know.
Thank you so much for sending the treats.
Yeah. They were really.
I enjoyed them without mishap.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was very, very relieved to have the whole gob and knob thing fixed up.
It's an important distinction.
Yes. Exactly. All right.
So you wanted to say something about yarn amounts during swatching.
Yeah.
Because you've used a ton of yarn in your swatch.
Yes.
This is like a whole sweater's worth of yarn here.
So I think it was in, somebody asked us a question. Did we answer? It wasn't on the Ask Us Anything.
Not the ones I looked at.
Okay, so there was a question about, do designers allow enough yarn in their recommendations for yarn to do the swatches? So, and then in kits, because this is a kit. So so speaking from personal experience, we're as a producer or manufacturer or whatever and seller, we are absolutely paranoid about not having enough yarn.
Yes.
When we send out the kits. So we really try to give at least 10% extra.
But despite that, if people don't check their gauge, you can still run out.
Yes, you can still run out. We've had people run out.
We've had mittens that were the size of baseball gloves, and then they're wondering why they ran out of yarn.
Yes. Or if you do your swatch in one needle size and then in another,
for example.
You could run into trouble.
Yeah.
But we allow, just so you know, 10% extra. So that should be enough to do your swatch. And normally you can just reuse the yarn in your swatch as well. You save it till the end, and then if you have to take it out, you just use that yarn in your swatch. Unless you have to knit in the round.
Right.
Because you have to cut it. So, I'm dedicated, but I'm not sure that I'd want to be unraveling every one of these strings.
But you will if you run out and you need it.
And then splicing them, but I definitely would if I needed it. So, anyway, before I endeavored on the third swatch, I ordered another ball of each of these two colors, and I received them from Sidsel, and they're the same dye lot as what I have, so it's all fine. So I could swatch with abandon. Luckily, I didn't have to do more than 3.
Right.
So, and even though I talked about the way that I figured out how to do a swatch in the round without dealing with these stupid big loops, which you already heard about, I still have to cut it. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't save you the fact that you have cut your yarn on every row. So
you wanted to say something about, did you say this last time about swatching using those 9-inch needles in the round? Oh yeah, you did. Okay.
Yeah, in the video.
Okay, perfect.
So, so yes, you should have enough yarn to do your swatch. And the bigger the swatch is, the better, but you don't want to go crazy. Mm-hmm. And if you have to do 3, you're going to run into trouble. Yeah. I think you're going to run out of trouble. And, but, you know, that prompted me to think about what happens if you know that you're going to slightly run out of, like we've all been in the situation where you know you've got enough yarn, you're playing yarn chicken, and you're short like for 2 inches of knitting or something like that. Right. So I thought a lot about that, because if the swatch is not an option to unravel, or maybe you're still in the same boat and you've unraveled your swatch already, it probably is a good habit to get into, is really like weighing your yarn, weighing your project, and figuring out before you're in that place of no return, what you could do to make do. Because trying to find a yarn for a project that maybe you've had the yarn in your stash for a long time, or you've purchased it from a small batch dyer, you're taking your chances. So there's all kinds of things, like look at the cuffs. Are you able to shorten the edging somehow? But you should get kind of, if you think you're going to be in that case, you could weigh your yarn.
Well, you still have a chance to maneuver.
Well, you still have a chance to maneuver. So, for example, if I was going to run out of my yarn on my Sunday cardigan, I could have made it a little bit smaller in this case, because I knew it was already going to be nice and roomy. Mm-hmm. Or instead of 15 centimeters of ribbing on the sleeves, I would do it smaller. Or if you have a cuff, can do a contrasting color on the cuff or the bottom, depending on how you're knitting. So think of those kind of things. And then especially if you're stuck, like because you've done a swatch or something like that. So
okay, good.
There's always some way to fix things, I find.
Well, it's better to know as soon as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So now we are on to Ask Us Anything.
Okay.
All right. So Cheeky Monkey, I love that name, asked, how do we decide which ram goes in with the ewes? Well, this year we didn't decide. He went in.
He was the only ram.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a typical breeding decision. So it's like, we like the wool on this one, but the body shape on that one. Let's put them together and see what they do.
Right.
So it is usually a fairly conscious decision. When we were breeding on a larger scale, we might have 3 working rams at a time.
Yeah.
And we would put them together based on the results we were hoping to get with the offspring. So,
and also trying not to, there's a thing called the coefficient of the inbreeding coefficient, which is how closely related the animals are.
Right.
And when you have a close flock, you really need to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
So
you're not breeding family members together.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's why even for 60 sheep, we had 3 rams, because
because once their offspring stay, then their family is in the flock that you're trying to divide up to decide who will breed with who. And that makes it quite easy. It's like not your father.
Yes.
Number one, or your uncle or whatever. Yeah. So there's quite a bit actually to arranging that if you have a really large flock. And if you're not constantly bringing new rams in, which does make it easier, because then no one's related to them.
Yeah, that's right.
But every time you bring new stock onto your property, you get
there's a risk.
There's a risk of you're bringing in parasites or diseases or whatever else they bring with them. Different types of immunity that might be fine on the farm they were on, but if they bring them here, our sheep will react poorly to it. So that's risky too.
Yeah.
The second question was, do we have any upcoming knit-alongs? And I think this is from White Willow, and I think we forgot about the whole knit-along thing. I mean, we just haven't had time to organize, but we most certainly will in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I think we've usually done it around January or something. So we're going to come up with something, and I think we'll probably do something with felt to tweed, because we're really anxious to dive into that yarn and learn more about it. The third question is about scurf.
Oh, yes. Let me talk about this.
Which from Prairie Firebird. And scurf, for those of you who don't know, is basically sheep dander.
Yeah, sort of.
And it's one of the reasons that we no longer do custom spinning. So if you're watching and you've ever sent a fleece to a mill that had scurf in it, congratulations, you've forced us to retire. So yes, it is a problem.
Yes, it's a big problem. Not for all mills, but for small scale mills,
it's a big problem for our mill.
Yeah, it's a big problem for our mill. And if you're a hand spinner, you can...
Prairie Firebird is a hand spinner, yeah, so she finds it just as annoying in hand spinning.
You can pick it out if you want, but it sticks. It's very, very sticky. So it's like dandruff, but it's not really
because it's
dandruff.
Also got lanolin on it.
Yes. So I've read a couple different things. It's not just dandruff either. Sometimes it's really common... if you've got it can be related to, there could be more dead skin and stuff in the fleece if you've got a ewe that has a nutritional problem or whatever. There's all kinds of reasons why you can get stuff in the fleece. But when it's on the fleece itself, it's extremely sticky. And what happens in our case, because we're using relatively gentle methods like to clean the fleeces and everything, where it's not a very aggressive scouring that we do. We have high temperatures, so that melts the lanolin. Lucky for us, when you melt the lanolin, most of the dirt comes out, so we don't have to do anything more caustic, I would say, than that. But and then the machines are fairly not as robust as a big commercial mill either. So when it gets into the machines, it sticks everything together, and then the fibers all start to bunch up.
They go back through a roller, like if they're supposed to come out a roller and drop into the can, they'll go right around the roller.
Yeah,
because it's so sticky. And we've had batches of custom spinning arrive with scurf in it, and you can't necessarily see it.
No, if it's on white
fleece, you can't see it. Once you've put it through, we've had it gum up our machinery so bad that it took us a full day and a half to clean the carter.
Yeah.
And then it still ruined a batch of alpaca belonging to someone else.
Yeah.
So if we seem terse,
passionate about
we are.
Yeah.
If you send that to your mill,
you're
won't
not
be getting processed by that mill ever again.
Yeah.
So my guess is that some people, possibly who know they have it, sell it for hand spinning because no mill will spin it.
Oh, I think some people think that
don't know.
I think some people don't understand that it's just not dandruff. Because when we first saw it, we thought it was just dandruff.
Well, I don't care what it is. It shouldn't be in a healthy fleece.
No, I know. But if it's just dandruff and it's dry, flaky skin, you would think that it would come out. But it's not just that. It's got another texture to it, and I don't want to...
It doesn't fall out. Yeah.
It doesn't fall out.
It sticks to the rollers and in all the combs.
And it sticks to the fleece, and it'll eventually come out. So as the wool is processed, so let's say you have your wool that is done, and if you left it for a long time and it dried out until it was really like dry, then you might be able to shake it out and work it out, but it's a lot of work to get it clean. And it goes everywhere. Like it's stuck in everything. So every bit of the process, the rollers are sticky.
It makes us super cranky.
And sometimes we've had beautiful, beautiful fleeces that have had it. And if it's fine, the little sticky bits collects the fine fibers and creates all of these little lumps and everything, and it's going around and around, so the fiber is breaking. It's just a nightmare.
And it can be caused by poor parasite control.
Yes, which is what I was trying to avoid saying. But...
Well, I'm laying it out on the line. The sheep could possibly have lice or other skin parasites that are causing them.
It's actually more of a that's actually the worst case of it. Is that, and you could be a really good farmer and have that happen, and you've treated your animals like that can happen. There's no judgment from us on that, because things have happened to us as well. So, but then you can't use the fleece.
No.
So
and
that's
you
the
notice
problem.
Them scratching.
Yeah. So if you cure, I mean, the sheep get parasites. That's there's no shame in that.
We treat for those all the time.
Yeah. And you treat it, but when the animal's been treated, until it's shorn again and grows a new fleece, you can't use the fleece that you've shorn off. It's garbage, unfortunately, for a mill like us.
Yeah.
Hand spinners can maybe handle it, but
it doesn't sound like
very
pleasant. Firebird is enjoying it.
Yeah. It's not. It's nasty.
It's a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we hope that answers your question. I saw that come up and I was like, what a good question.
Yeah.
I'm going to get all my aggression. It's It's probably 2 years ago that it took us a day and a half to clean the carter. Yeah. But you're talking about shutting down a manufacturing facility for a day and a half to clean something that you only put through for 5 minutes, and then realize was garbage, and you're not going to be able to make any money off spinning it.
And then we had to pay the customer after, the one that was after,
to replace that alpaca fiber.
Yes, we bought it.
So not cool.
Right.
All right, and they probably didn't know it was in there, but it's a bad thing.
Yeah. We'll give people the benefit of the doubt,
right?
But if you're suspect that it's there, then it's honestly, for us, it's not worth it to process it. We don't want it. Like, it's a nightmare.
No, you can't get it. You can barely get it done.
And you can. All I'm saying is, if you were hand spinning, you can get it clean.
You can pick it out one piece at a time, one flake at a time. But that's about it.
Yeah.
So. All right, so somebody asked a technical question. How would I add buttonholes to a 2x2 rib that is worked from one end of the cardigan to the other? And I think maybe we should throw that into the forum.
Okay.
Because to create buttonholes, you just do a little bind off, and then, like, you could just do a little buttonhole pattern and write it in yourself. In a 2x2
so I've
rib.
actually never done a buttonhole, so I can't really comment. Okay. You've done buttonholes?
I've done buttonholes, and you just bind off a couple stitches to make a gap.
Right.
And then pick them up on the way back.
Right. There's several different ways to do it.
Yeah. I mean, you can do the buttonholes the way that the Sunday Cardigan, if it's a loose gauge.
Yeah. Because they're not real, they're afterthought buttonholes.
Yeah, so she just kind of made a hole and then sewed a thing around it, but it would have to be quite a loose gauge.
She stretches to make the opening. And then you bind it around. Yeah, do a whip stitch.
But if it's a tight 2x2 rib, that's going to be really hard to pull off.
Yeah.
So it also depends on the size of the button you need, and all that kind of thing. So just make a hole one way or another. And it sounds like it's worked from one end of the cardigan to the other. Does that sound like she's picking up along the edge?
That would be like what you did with your tea leaf cardigan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You had a rib.
No buttons.
No, but you did
it picked up along.
Yeah.
So it depends on what direction you're knitting in.
It was like a button band, but it was the edging, not.
So, I think I'll put that up as a topic in the forum, and everybody else can weigh in if they've ever modified a pattern with a 2x2 rib. And she did Made with Love and Beer. Did provide the name of the pattern.
Okay.
So I'll throw that in the forum too, and then you can all have at it and make suggestions about how to modify it. I know it's an Andrea Mowry pattern, but I can't remember which one.
Okay.
Okay, and then this is another one for you. Okay. So I feel like maybe we've covered this before, but we can do it again. Please explain S versus Z twist in spinning.
Yes.
And do you do one over the other? Definitely.
Yeah.
Is most machinery set up for one kind? Typically. You can switch it easily.
Yeah.
But we would typically, it's just a flick of a button.
Yes.
But we would typically leave it on the one we use, which is S.
Yeah.
Is that right?
We spin on Z and ply on S.
Okay, so that was our other question. Are there twists that come with plying too?
Yes.
So this is by Bead Addict Roxy.
Okay, so I really wish I had looked this up before we got here. So I'm just going to do a cop-out and say I will do a comment underneath in the titles because I can never really remember, is the Z the clockwise or the counterclockwise? Okay.
But regardless, one's clockwise and one's counterclockwise.
Yeah, so I know how it works, and I guess I could figure it out. So
well, don't guess. We'll just put it in.
We'll put it in. So you spin on one and you ply on the other. So whatever you're doing, you can spin yarn Z or S. It doesn't matter. But whatever you spun, you ply on the opposite. So I spin on Z. That is, I think that goes to the right, but I will correct it. And that is the most common twist for a commercial yarn, with the exception of yarns that are made specifically for twined knitting. And the reason why, and there's the way they perform is differently. So if you're a knitter and you're knitting, the way, just moving the yarn over the needles to make the knit stitch or pearl stitch or whatever, has a slight twisting effect on your yarn. So when you twist Z in the spin, you're actually tightening that twist slightly when you knit. When you crochet, however, you twist the yarn in the opposite direction, and it actually loosens. So crocheters prefer an S twist rather than a Z twist. And twine knitting,
but it's hard to find.
It's really hard to find. And knitters that are doing twine knitting are always looking for an S spin as well. So you can buy specific yarns that are for twined yarns, and they will also be great for crocheters.
Mm-hmm. Did someone ask us once to spin something S and we did it for them?
Maybe.
I feel like one time we did that.
Yeah. So, and there are mills that spin S.
Right.
So, and you can do either if you're at home with your spinning machine.
Just a flick of a button.
Yeah, for us it's a toggle switch.
Okay.
Goes to S or Z.
Right.
But for spinners at home, you can do it. You do your reel one way or you do it the other, and you make the difference. So now what happens is that when you ply, you do the opposite. So the Lopi is a good example. So the more you twist and untwist the fiber, the more cohesive the twist stays in the skein. So for Lopi, for example, I'm spinning on a Z. Spin, spin, spin. I still, even though I'm not plying two strands together, I put it on the plier and then I take out some of the twist. So because you're over twisting on the spinning.
To make it more cohesive?
To make it more cohesive. And then you're taking out some of the twist when you do the plying. And in this case for the Lopi, you take it out. But it's already has some kind of effect of making the fiber more cohesive. So that's, I don't know if that really explains, I hope it explains what there is definitely a difference. The yarns perform differently. So when you buy a yarn that's been spun on with an S twist, as you knit with it, you'll loosen it. But as you crochet with it, you'll tighten it, which is good. So you don't have splitting of the plies. But most yarns, commercial yarns, are spun with a Z twist. And by, following the logic, it would then be plied with an S.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Well, that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah. And there's really good resources online to look, to see like how you tell about a Z and like you can look at it and be able to tell if it's a Z or an S, but I won't go into that because there's a whole technical thing about that.
All right. And then so many Ask Us Anything questions. This is great. Keep sending them in because it really helps us know what you want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
So Denora May asked, do we dock our sheep tails? And it's always funny answering these animal husbandry questions because farmers get judged a lot for the things they do to their livestock. We do not dock our tails currently. We have docked them in the past.
Yeah.
And every farmer is responsible for making decisions for the health of their flock, what they think is going to be best for the animals that are in their care, which we always do, and we always try to treat our sheep with the utmost care and attention. Here in Canada, we have a national guideline for husbandry for all types of livestock, and sheep is no exception.
And animals, basically.
In general,
animal welfare.
And we always follow those guidelines, usually plus.
Right.
And we, obviously, docking of other types of animals, dogs and things, have been outlawed in many places.
And in PEI, you're not allowed to dock any animal's tails except for sheep.
Right. And some people don't realize that sheep even have long tails to begin with.
Yes.
But most of ours now do. When we did do docking, we did it in the most humane way possible, which is like an instant cauterization method. Yeah.
There are methods to do it that we wouldn't do.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
And if you're concerned about tail docking, and you want more information about why a farmer would choose to do that over not choosing to do it, then we would invite you to Google fly strike.
Yeah.
And that will be the end of that debate as to what's worse for the animal.
Right.
So we don't do ours because our sheep are outside a lot and they tend to stay very clean and they don't get daggy butts, which means butts with a bunch of poop gathered on them. But if you leave a long tail, it's possible if they have any diarrhea or whatever that it will cling to the fiber. This is really, some people have definitely shut this off.
Yeah.
We're almost done, so that's fine. But I mean, they asked the question, so I want to answer it thoroughly. But if you have manure stuck in wool, it creates obviously a very unsanitary environment,
especially
for the animal.
in dampness.
Yeah, and let's face it, we're not giving these sheep a bath.
Yeah.
So that's sort of all we'll say about that. We don't currently do it because we have a small enough flock that we feel we can manage and prevent fly strike without doing it. But if you cannot manage the number of animals you have in such a way that will prevent fly strike, or you're in an environment where it's more likely, because it never used to happen here at all, because it has to be quite hot and humid really for it to take off. Yeah. Then I encourage you to go look that up, and then you'll understand why farmers stock really sheep tails.
And we were saying go look it up, but if you don't want to see real, it's terrible. It's really terrible.
Yeah, it's way worse than having your tail docked.
Yeah. And, you have to be, when you're doing tail docking, you should do it at a very young age. So the structure of a lamb's tail is probably like the thickness is like your baby finger.
Wouldn't even be. Yeah. Not when we do it. That would be like the thickest part.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like a little bit of cartilage at the end.
Yeah. And we are not supportive of harsh tail docking because there's a lot of controversy right now about how far you could
not very far.
Right.
Not up over the wazoo.
Yeah.
Like we leave ours probably at least a hand length, even when they're docked. But I mean, a sheep's tail can be this long.
Yeah.
So we're getting rid of this part, but we do not agree with docking up over the backside.
Yeah.
And neither does the Canadian government.
No.
So we cannot do that here in Canada.
Yeah.
But that's another whole controversy. But we do not agree with short docking. So if you're thinking of the docking that takes place for a lot of U.S. sheep shows, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We leave it. They have a little privacy.
Yes. Yes.
Left. A little dignity left.
Yes. Yes. All the parts are covered.
Yeah.
But that's not always the way people dock.
Because a lot of times the bottom of the sheep tail gets thicker and fuller too, almost like a dog, like a golden retriever tail. So we take off all the thick full part, but we leave a lovely privacy bit.
Yeah.
We don't dock very short.
No. Quite long, actually.
Yeah. Ours are probably, in some cases, too long to even be effective.
So,
but we don't do it anymore.
So, yeah, if we were in a case where, we still would do it if we felt that we needed to.
If we had a lot of fly strike, absolutely.
Yeah, if we had fly strike, or we had, there was a reason that we felt that we needed to do it, we would definitely do it. So we're not going to get any grief from us if you're docking tails with your flock, because we have had fly strike here. Yeah. In tails that were undocked. Yeah. And
only. Yeah. We've only ever had it in undocked tails. Yes. I mean, it's a very cause and effect type of relationship. We're not making it up. Yeah. If you do dock, you're unlikely to get it. If you don't dock, you're much more likely to get it.
Yeah, if the conditions are right.
But we don't agree with overly short docking. Yes. Well, and you're not allowed to do it here.
Yeah, it's illegal.
It's illegal. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why, even though docking has been outlawed, basically, it's against the law to any other animal. The sheep have remained, because it is absolutely so horrific if they get fly strike and you can't, like within the cases that we've had, we look at every one of our sheep every single day. Not all farmers are in a situation where they can do, like if they're grazing in far pastures and stuff like that. We're in a little bit of an unusual situation as far as larger flocks go, because we don't have a larger flock. But, so no judgment from us if you have to dock tails, but
and in fact, if we thought we had the time, we probably might have done it or might not, we own the equipment to do it. We might do it again if we think that's what's best for the overall health of our flock. But typically the last few years we haven't done it.
No, because it's been so dry.
Yeah. Who needs to?
Yeah. We don't.
Heat and humidity is really part of what you factor into the decision. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, I think it's clear. Maybe we better change the subject. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when people ask the question, I like to give an honest answer. Yeah. But it's not always straightforward. It's not very straightforward. If you're not actually responsible for a livestock, you probably don't understand the complexity of what goes into making these decisions. Yeah. And I think farmers get a lot of flack. So I do have to say, you know, kind of give your farmer the benefit of the doubt. There might be a reason that you're not aware of why they do something, and it's actually what's better for the animal in the long run. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess that's it. I didn't tell my Arne and Carlos book story. What was the Arne and Carlos book story? You were on a plane with your Christmas balls to knit book?
Yes. Yes. Maybe we'll save it for another day when I can have the book. Okay, you want to tell it now?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, we're all about the Arne and Carlos right now.
Yeah, so we started more or less with an exciting story, and
we hope you've all gone and bought your tickets and are just come back now. Yeah.
So the Christmas balls to knit. I think that's the name of the book. Yeah. So I've had it for so long that
it's like Christmas balls to knit.
Yeah. Exactly. Which we'll have to find out if they were tongue in cheek when they named the book or not.
Yeah, we'll have to ask them.
Yeah, we'll have to ask them. Anyway, it's a great book, but the font type, the size of the words that they chose to put,
is smaller than balls to knit.
Yeah. Exactly. So I was knitting my Christmas balls on a plane I used to fly every week from Montreal to Toronto. And so it's always like mostly business people on the 7:30 flight from Montreal to Toronto on Tuesdays. That's when I flew every Thursday or every Tuesday. And I'm just putting my knitting down because we're about to they've made the last announcement. And this guy was going past me on the aisle, last chance for the washroom or whatever, and he went by, and I had closed my book, so I had the title of the book like right there on the tray table, and my yarn was over it, and he literally walked past. He looked like this. Oh, that's a Christmas book, and he went, and then he came back and he said, "Can I see the title of that book?" And I started laughing because I said, "Christmas balls to knit." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And then turned bright red as the Christmas ball I was knitting. And then went back.
Well, I love him for having the courage to come back and clarify.
I know. It's really funny. And I'm sure there's hundreds of stories around that book.
I wonder if they've changed the cover at all. I don't think so. No, every time I see it listed, it looks the same as what you've got.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Arne and Carlos.
That was a really funny story.
Yeah, and excited about having Trisha Malcolm too.
Yes, we're really feeling a lot of gratitude and being blessed.
In fact, when we were back a little young, we were never young since we've been in this business, but upstarts, we once wrote to Trisha and begged her to interview us for Vogue Knitting. And we got no response. So I can hardly wait to meet her. I mean, slightly busy woman.
Yeah, and how precocious were we?
Well, I had a little bit of an inside tip.
Yeah, but we were literally making yarn for 5 minutes and wanted to be interviewed by Vogue Knitting.
Interview small producers and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were not even a blip on the blip on the blip.
Anyway, look at that. Now we're hosting an event with her.
Yeah,
so that's fun.
That's right.
All right.
Just stick to your dreams.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in again. Yeah. Please like the video if you liked it. We'll know the thumbs downs are for the animal husbandry part and the scurf part this time. And we'd love to hear your comments or any other questions you have down in the comment section below. Everything we featured is linked in the show notes, which you can hit the title of the video if you're on your pad or phone or whatever, and that'll drop down, not on your TV. Subscribe. Yeah. Hit the notification bell. Yeah, join us over on our Ravelry group.
Yeah, we're over 6,000 now.
Yeah, sign up for our newsletter on the website, and you can also join the community forum through the link on our website. That's a lot for you to do. Better get going.
You're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. All right.
Bye.